Thanks for staying with us. So today is Thursday, and on Thursdays, we love to discuss family, life, relationships, and lifestyle issues. So we saw an interesting story online that caught our attention about a young lady who gave us a bit of story about her, how she got pregnant for her. I think at the time he was her boyfriend at the time, and then he wanted to legalize the union, and the guy only agreed to an introduction. He refused to marry her properly. You know, he refused to have a proper legal wedding for her, a white wedding, the whole works. He just preferred the traditional wedding. And her family begged him, she cried, she was trying to get him to agree. He always just continually refused. Anyways, fast forward, I think after 9 years, they had 3 children, and her company had moved her to Texas. She got a job in Texas. And she was doing very well. His business wasn't doing so well. And now he's ready to relocate, obviously, because she's doing well. But there's no legal document that says they're married. Now he's asking her to get married properly. And her family is saying, if you try it, I will disown you, because her father, the whole family had begged him at the time to legalize things, but he just refused to at the time. Now she's not asking, what should she do? Some are saying that, listen, he's the father of 3 of your children, like, forgive him. Yes, maybe it's a time of ignorance or foolishness, forgive him. Others are saying, vengeance is sweet in this kind of situation. Don't further. So she's asking for advice, and many people have advice, but you know, no matter how much you advise, until your view advises you, you don't hear that advice. You can call us on 081-764-1679, 09024163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Entertainment using the hashtag YourBeautyOnTVC so we can read your tweets. Who do I start with? Mariam, you want to go first?
For me, that man is just an opportunist. That's it. He's not about a man who did something when he was younger and he was foolish. This is a man that waited until he realized that, you know, she had the upper hand and wanted to get in on it. All the years that they had been married, he did not rethink his ways after the first child. He didn't rethink his ways after, you know, all the subsequent children, until he found that she was financially empowered and much more than he is. And now he wants to cash in on it, and realizing that the only way he can do that is to be legally attached to her. So that she even stayed with him as long as she did. She's a strong woman, knowing, and then now proving to her. So at first, what for me, it will be that in all this time, she may have just accepted, okay, maybe he's not into marriage like that. He just likes being together. But now, now that he's insisting on legally marrying her, then she understands that the whole of the time that she spent with him was for nothing. He just didn't love her. I think he's making it even more clear now that he never loved her. It was never, you know, he maybe just felt that he had to be there because there was a child involved. And so I would advise her, just keep the relationship as it is. Whatever you can do for him from where you are, please do it. But this man, if he gets there and then circumstances change again, he's going to change. Okay. Because what should be constant is his love for her or his lack of love for her. So that will continue to determine how he treats her.
But you see, when a man comes from a background where he has seen how that document called marriage certificate has destroyed homes, where the woman has some kind of legal authority to do certain things, or the man has legal, you know, some people are coming from different backgrounds. He could have experienced something. Maybe his stepmother took everything that his father maybe left for him. Because maybe his mother was the second wife, for example, and the first wife, because she had a legal document like that, squandered or took all the father's property. He was left with nothing. He grew up by himself. People are coming from different backgrounds. Not everybody believes in that document called marriage certificate. They believe once I do traditional, it's fine. And people always get warned, don't go and do marriage. I mean, I remember many men in Nigeria always been advised, don't go and do marriage, or whatever you do, don't go and put that document, because once you do that, she's bound to you forever, and everything you own belongs to her. So some men have that background, and it's not as if they don't love you, because for him to have 3 children with you and staying with you, obviously there's some kind of a connection, but he's just probably afraid of that document. Now that it has become necessary for him to
the document has become beneficial to him. So thank you for coming. After you but you now came back home, you know. So sadly, if she had not been pregnant for him, there would be no marriage. There would be no relationship with her. He didn't want her. He just, you know those gunshot weddings and what they call it. That's the kind of arrangement he had. You were pregnant, so let me honor you. And she wanted to be honored. Her family insisted, cover her up as in Bola Shiri, that kind of thing. You know, make a honest woman out of her, but he refused and demanded on his terms. And so if he has a right to do things on his terms as an adult, she has a right to do things on her terms as an adult. Sadly, this situation is common because a lot of men believe marriage is a thing of honor to women, not to them. Sadly, it's a common... I'm dealing with someone very close to me right now who's dealing with this kind of thing. The necessary thing a man should do for you, he should do, which includes marrying the woman as our culture demands when you love her. But some men will now say, I will not until the way I want it done. At the time you're marrying a woman, remember that you're also rewarding her family for the kind of child they've raised. The way you talk to her family, the way you treat her family, the way you disregard her family. A girl I know whose father just passed is just finding out that her husband has no respect for whoever is left. He's saying, there's no man in your house that I can talk to. And a lot of things her eyes are opening up to is she's constantly being disregarded. And he says to her, there's really no man. She wants to cry to someone, but she's thinking he doesn't respect other family members. And it's not a good place to be. So our culture also says honor the family of the girl. By the time you're telling the family how you will marry their daughter, I don't understand. The disregard is a lot. We know family at their least bring some excesses. But the first thing is that when you talk to the father, you ask, what do I need to do? I appreciate your work. I want to marry somebody you've raised well. And whatever you need me to do, I will do it. If it's too much, you'll be negotiating for a woman you love, not that you'll be disregarding our family. Right. But now, table don't come turn. Because you don't think that a human being can bring you any advantage. A woman that's bet 1, 2, 3 children for you has already brought you an advantage. And you didn't, at any point in time when the kids were being born, think to honor her until a visa and a job opportunity is attached to you. But, you're simply a gold digger.
Let me come to YK, because women are often, and I'm trying to see from a woman's perspective, you have all these counselors in church, family members. Wait, listen, at least he shall marry you. At least they start doing introduction. At least they've done engagement. That is enough. What are you stressing yourself? Why are you killing yourself? There are no men out there. This one has agreed to stay with you. The only problem is he doesn't want documents. What is your problem? Because I'm sure people like that, maybe her father insisted, but there'll be voices in her ears across, but saying, listen, maybe it's just an introduction. This is just a marriage. At least that one in our culture is recognized. Don't worry about it. And I know a lot of women have that situation. So it's not as if she just entered that marriage knowing that at least he loves me.
Wasn't a marriage, remember?
Yeah, it's the traditional. Well, okay. For her, family know each other and we are confident. Yeah. So for her, many people would have told her, at least you have this one. Yeah. Should she have compromised? That's the word. Should she have accepted? Because many women will be in that situation tomorrow, where the man is insisting, sorry, I don't want documents. My family, we don't do documents in our family. We've done traditional and we are fine.
You know, first of all, I just want to say, traditional marriages, to me, are actually legal. Yes. They are actually legal.
Recognized by court.
And they're recognized, you know. And to dissolve them, you need to either return the yam or so. They are legal. But that paper is the one that seals your fate. Oh, yeah? You are locked in here. Come on.
Brings on the statute.
Maybe the guy didn't want to be locked in. He wanted an easy way to escape. When the chips were down, if he needed to escape, maybe it's just to return the yam. But this one, now, his own matter now has become what they call poetic justice.
Yep.
I don't see, I mean, you did it the easy way. You married, because for me, traditional is legal. But in the courts, in the embassy that you are going to, is that paper where you sign that they need.
Yeah, okay.
You know?
The story of escape just reminded me of somebody's experience. So a couple had been married, they married very poor. Their dream was find a way to America and so that they would blow. And so the woman put some money together with the man, went to family, borrowed, and sent the man abroad. And the moment he landed abroad, blocked her. She had 3 children for him in Nigeria at the time. So he blocked her and said she was going to be a distraction if he continued the link, so because she'll be asking for money. He needed to settle down first. So he left. But before he left, they were also trying to do that visa lottery thing that was popular then. And she had played one that year he left, but she couldn't play it with him. And when he got there, when he blocked her, over time, she just heard that she won, the ones that she had played. So she raised money quietly, not involving his family again, and found her way to the US with 3 children. As she was landing in America, whatever happened, he was deported. And so they held family meeting that he was trying to reach his wife, that she's a wife. How can you be like this? He's your husband. The first thing you should do as you're getting there is to find a way to bring him there, because now you have paper to stay. And the woman was like, I've been blocked. I don't need to talk to him. So she was pressured, family, her own family. She brought him back there. And then he now came with a story at one family meeting, how she was hostile to him, how she never submitted, that when she got to America, she became empowered. Nobody heard the other background story of how she was treated. But the story that was popularized was how she was a terrible woman. Even me, I even bought it.
She still brought him over.
She brought him over, but she just didn't want to have anything to do with him. And he called it, he said she will not have sex with him, she will not have this. He called it, they named it names. They called her feminine, they called her a lot of evil names that I thought it was true until I heard
so
it.
I think, this goes back to what you said earlier about the way some men see marriage as it just honoring the woman and they doing the woman a favor. So that's why you hear somebody say, if you do now, just send you packing back to Jos. Some people tell you, I'll send you back to Jos, as if, if not because of them, you would have come to Lagos. It's them that brought you to Lagos, So when people view marriage that way, there is, they always feel like they're at an advantage. And that's why in the Bible it says that when the man finds a wife, finds a good thing. So even God recognizes that it brings blessing to you as well. And, sometimes you marry someone at the, maybe they're much younger or they don't have a lot of resources. Then over time, as you're growing, you find that the tables turn. But the way you have treated each other during the marriage will determine how that person treats you back. This man has made it clear to this woman that she's not so important to him that he's willing to go the extra mile. If he is the sort of person, as YK says, that does not want to be locked in, then why does he want to be locked in now? No. It will even be harder now.
It's convenient.
Yeah, so it's not about locked in. It's not about means to an end. That's it. I don't want to be locked in either. Yeah. It's a means to an end. I need that document.
So that's the same thing I'm saying. Why would you, for every decision you make, it has its consequences.
But for the sake of the fact that he's the father of my children, I want to be on. I have to be the.
No problem. We get
your children need to go to their father.
He is the father of my children. Can I forgive him?
No. What I'm saying is that you are the father of the children before this visa issue came up.
Yes.
Why wasn't as the father of the children to give these children a home that honors them better? Why did you not do that? Why does going abroad and the finances and her finances being better be the reason why now you want to do something better? This is not a man that has the best interest of the woman at heart. It's not about the children. It's about him. It's that it's convenient now. Now it pays me more because the situation has not changed. It's still the same woman and 3 children.
So we have customs, so, maybe the family requires certain customs. Like if at a burial, some people will say certain rites have not been done over a woman, so our husband who should traditionally partake in burial of our parents, will not be able to partake. And he'll be required to do it. Imagine that you're now at that point just finding out you didn't do then. You're now wanting her to do for you what you were not willing to do for her. And for her father to demand certain things of you at the point you married her is because he would have made him honored as a father. And you didn't think she was deserving of that. You didn't think your kids deserve that. Some girls cannot be made to marry if the yams of their mothers have not been completed in tradition. So, like I have my daughter now, if, for instance, my traditional rites had not been completed, at the wedding of my daughter, my husband cannot receive that of his child until they complete my own. So imagine all those things. Tradition is deep. then you did not do for your child. You didn't do for your wife, for her father. You didn't do for your child at any point. He not shame you, but you can't be in need. Now want it to be.
Knowing how forgiving the young women are.
Edo people, their traditions are very
even Igbo people, I think, let me not use their names, but Igbo people, they would have been married many years, and then maybe something happens, maybe the husband dies or the wife dies, then they'll say, you cannot bury this person here because you did not do one thing. Well, you married in church.
And you won't believe he was remembered.
The registry, but because you did not perform the traditional rites. So it's a way to honor the person, so that a time will come and there's no issue like this. Honor the person. If you love the person, show them that you honor. If you know you don't love them, that's a way to show that you don't.
What's happened, what's been done has been done. What has happened. So should she now abandon living in Nigeria?
Is it abandon?
She's working now. She's moving on.
So she should come and visit. Did not say they cannot visit now.
No. For his papers to.
I know that marriage we can't marry it again. I know.
I'm disappointed in you people. Disappointed in this conversation.
We can't marry it again. We are still married. We are married now. Maybe we did the traditional. No.
It's only because the man is not coming from an honest place, Mariah. If the person is repenting of his ways and has shown remorse before now, would have made a difference. This is not coming from an honest place.
There you have it. That's all we can take on this segment. We'll come back on to the next topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing Thursday marriage life and lifestyle. So another story caught our attention. A Nigerian man pens down some list for his wife to be in 2024. According to him, she must be respectful, humble, and easy to forgive. You must know how to make it at least a prayer a day for us. No arguments, no shouting, no quarrels. Say what's your opinion, but if I insist, leave it like that. Learn how to encourage me and try to be content. Have an idea on wearing heels. If not, there are places you cannot follow me to. An experience in trekking, at least you can trek 1 kilometer with no complaints because I never get moto. Know how to cook and be willing to cook. And finally, be a giver and lover of people. Now, men have said, listen, what he's asking is not too much. This is only, unless you want to put a feminist lens. Others are saying, this man is not ready for marriage. Obviously, you should go and find another woman somewhere else. What are your thoughts on this? Because what was most shocking to me was the age of this man. This is a young Nigerian, probably in his mid-30s. This is probably early 30s, mid-30s max. And for a man like this to think like this, it means that you've been for the past 10 years, you've not done anything, you've not even started work. Like we try to reorientate, but maybe we are asking for too much. Maybe the Nigerian man is set in a certain way that there's nothing can change his ways. Because when you see some of this, you think to yourself, okay, do we still have men thinking this way, or is he within his right to think this way? Should he continue? Is this normal? Because many of us have accepted this way of life. What are your own thoughts? Nima, let me start with you this time around.
This is a daddy-wa kind of man. And I would ask every young girl to jump and pass. So in marriage and in love, that's setting everything that you do, because you do it in love, they're not an item list.
It happens naturally.
Women do them with love. But you know, some men will say, my mother did XXX. So these are the lists that you must conform with. They set a standard way above you that forces some form of hardship for you to qualify as a good woman. So the more you can take, the better woman you are. They will dish it plenty, the better woman you can then be called. But you will never get called. So you're in a narcissistic environment and you will need to do more. But this kind of person, you would never really earn that love if you think working towards it or meeting that list. They are controlling, manipulative. They say, Chibi, before I married you, I told you. So I always talk about some cases I handled where a man met a girl. By the time I met them, the marriage was crashing at 15 years plus. And when he met her, she was from a very rich political background. He did not tell her anything. He married her and said she wasn't a good woman. And so while she was in that marriage, that was the standard of abuse because he wanted to be the kind of woman he wanted. And we didn't know that when doors were closed, she was told how badly behaved she was, pampered, your parents did not raise you well, and so. So God continued to bless this man. maybe for whatever reason she kept praying for him, and he became wealthy. And the hardship increased. It wasn't about money or resources. He wanted her to suffer that hardship. By the time I met them, he arrested the wife for buying a car. He said that as my wife, they live in a mansion, but he wants the wife to take public buses to qualify as a good woman, not because of lack of resources. He used to say to her, "You are spoiled. They spoiled you. What is wrong in taking buses?" She said, "But privately, I get faster to school to pick the kid. I get faster." And he said, "I have a car in the house, but you can't drive the car. You can only drive. It fuels the car exactly for school bus runs. So if the fuel increases higher than, she say you bought fuel because you went to greet your friend. If she has a place to go and she thinks, oh no, I don't want to go there. I told you to take public transport to that place, and it must not be taxi."
When I hear some of these stories, Nigerian women are trying.
Morayo, let me tell you the funny thing. When I met this woman in 2019, I thought she was a mad poor girl. When her family now took her back and I saw her, she came to my office. She was cleanly. I said, "I didn't know you were this beautiful." She looked mad when I met her. So I had that first image of her like that. I didn't know she was such a beautiful person. But the standard she was being pushed to. In fact, one of the experiences she had, they were crossing over to the New Year and she went to go and buy turkey to cook for her kids. He says, "What is wrong with you people drinking gari just to that day? I say you are still spoilt." So he has an issue with softness, with good life. It's not about wealth. So be careful about this kind of
personally, I don't have a problem with people having standards and having a spec. It's important. It's just that the intention behind your standard and spec should come from an honest place, a place that you want to see that person that you're looking to live with, also flourish. There's also something about writing down a list and someone looking at your list. It may, because of context, it may seem harsh. But in the, last time we discussed about sons getting married to some people, and I'd mentioned something about standards. I would encourage people to have standards, although maybe my list will be different and the sort of things I would say to people will be a bit different. And I would like it, and I would say it should highlight more character. Is this person a hardworking person, an honest person, a kind person? Those sort of things is what I expect. But this person is being very, specific. So he says, you must have experience in trekking because we have to go out to preach, and I don't have a car yet. So he's not saying I will never buy a car, we would never, but now, see, I am a preacher. I go from place to place to preach. This may be a tough lifestyle for someone who has not ever had any experience in that kind of, life, and may find it difficult. So this is who I am. So are you sure that's how I'm looking at it, with a bit of positive spin on it. I don't want to think that it's come from a bad place. It may just be English, and the way it's being put, and seeing that it's a list. Then we have that, have an idea wearing heels. Now, Oga, I hope you're not expecting her to trek in the hills.
Miriam, no, I don't like that place you went. Because I was going to wait now. You went and took the trekking.
Yes.
And say because you did not have a car.
Yeah.
But you now came back to the hills. This guy expects her to meet standards even in her hardship.
We'll get there.
No, you are going to trek in hills. That's the information.
Okay.
And I don't have a car yet.
Yeah.
You are going to wear heels if you must accompany me to certain places.
Okay.
But you are going to trek in those hills because I don't have a car yet. This is a clear. Okay. This kind of person jump and pass.
So this is where I was saying there are two things.
Marriage.
It's good to have a standard, it's good to have spec, and good to be specific. And then we need to also understand from where it's coming from. And now I'm just talking about the list itself, how it looks. Looking at it is not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with being respectful and humble and looking for someone like that.
No, those are
there's nothing wrong with being prayerful. There are some of us, prayer is something that we eventually learned to do, But my friends, when we were younger, they understood praying and fasting and going for night vigil. And the sort of men that approached them were those sort of people that appreciated that sort of lifestyle. So if you look at it, on its own, I don't think it's such a bad idea. Also, for the people that may be looking at it, makes it easy for you to tell from the beginning if this is the person for me and not. Because people are always talking about mixed messaging, with people when they're in relationships with, I don't know what he means, he says here, he says there. Now you know exactly who this man is. Now, to question what Nima is coming from, because of the way he's worded some things, you have heels, be sure that you accompany me to places. if I insist, leave it like that, now for me, this is a controlling person. This particular person.
That's an average Nigerian man. Let me come back to
quite
Let me take Dawudu's.
That would not work for someone like me.
I'll come back to this. Dawudu, thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I'm calling from Aushi, Edo State. And to my sister there, hello, Mao.
Hello. We are more.
Okay.
That's good. I want to speak on the last topic.
Yes, go ahead. You're live.
I am married with 2 kids, and my family, my in-laws, they have never got any issue about anything concerning course certificates and co. And my wife will never mention it. She's a graduate from Univer. We are educated. But the issue is we don't see, although you have to pay for divorce, the case of the case it is. But I think it's a way where people, when talking about this certificate, people use it in a way to blackmail me. It's very gender. It's not about love. I love my wife so much. I love my kids. I will never want to divorce. But to see that because I have not done that, I collected certificate from the mosque when we are doing the traditional wedding. That is enough. If we have reason to travel to maybe Hajj or anywhere, we need that one. It's not about love. So I want to make that correction. It's not about love at all. You can love your family and don't do that. Good morning.
You see, this part of when we have an argument, whatever your husband says, just allow, just let it be, because he has a final say. It happens in a lot of homes. And it's not foreign to many women, because a lot of men have also been raised to feel as if, listen, you are the head of the house and you have the final say. So when he says that, if you have an opinion, if you are arguing, if once I insist, leave it, is he speaking out of the ordinary?
No, it's not. It's not. Well, what Nigerian men don't have is that when we have the final consequence, it's you who are the final say. If you have the final consequence, you now be telling the woman you are not supportive. If I did not take ownership of a decision we made, we didn't make it. It's you who made it. And I don't want to suffer the consequence of it. And then maybe I buffer myself. Or I now, at the point when the consequence is now dropping, I'll be like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to suffer this. I'm now being judged as not a good woman. That's why the two heads must come, so that one person, the other person can own the consequence. Sometimes, maybe let's talk about an investment, for instance. I want to buy this thing now. And the husband insists, no, we don't need it. And the wife says, okay, because peace should reign. And then when finally hosting guests, and they be like, oh, this place is fine now, let's just leave this one, and then they come and put their money here. The man is not saying the woman should bear the hardship, and the woman is saying, I don't want to bear that suffer, that the lack of this cost. You are now saying she didn't own that decision with you. If she must own it with you, she must put input in reaching the decision with you. It's just too basic. This one is not Quran, Bible, or anything. This is basic common sense. Because 2 adults usually marry, 18 above. You know, 2 adults usually marry, but you say no because you were raised to be the decision maker. No problem. Take all your decisions, but the consequence of it, can you take it?
Well, you see, and there's a story of a man that he was raised with corporal punishment. His father used to beat him, his teacher. That's all he knows. Now, he's married to a modern woman, and he beats the children, like, terribly. And the woman is insisting, you can't touch my child, because there are better ways of raising this child. And he's insisting that I have the final say. I'm the father. There's nothing. Every other thing, I can let you do. But these children raised, I will beat them. There's nothing you can do about it. Now, maybe the woman wants to accept, okay, he beats the children, but sometimes the children come with scars. They are crying to the mother, and she's having to nurse these children. She's constantly having to help them, and it hurts her spirit, her soul, that she has to constantly, because this man beats them to stupor. So in that situation, I have the final, I'm the head of the house, I have the final say. What does the woman do? Do I keep watching your children being beaten like this every
at that
single
point,
time?
she should put her foot down and say, "Scum, I will report you to child."
I suppose, yes. It's a common thing.
Because if you
Child support in Nigeria.
there is now.
Yes.
For beating.
If in Lagos State, there is.
No, not for beating. They won't really.
They will. If they are coming out with scars,
If it's to that
then
point,
you have passed. You have
Yes.
crossed the threshold of
discipline.
reasonability.
Yes.
Anyway, this guy that wants to marry me this year is the comments that I'm just sitting here and I'm laughing.
Please go ahead, Mike.
You know, says, thank God I know they wear his. Thank God to say I get coconut head. May we never cross paths in Jesus' name. Another one says, it's always folks at the end of the food chain that feel like they are the prize. Another one says, is that all of him? There is, or there is more at home, which is chaplain.
Wait, what? We don't want to have a
don't
list.
get out.
No, but see,
we should have
comments. But I'm reading the comments and I'm laughing because Mariah, you had a list.
I had a list. I was going to say that. I had a list.
You know?
And I'm just thinking to myself, if I had brought out my list, maybe people would have yabbed me.
Yeah, without context.
Because they don't understand where I'm coming from and don't understand the context. So maybe this is his own private list. Maybe he posted it. But if everybody has their own personal list, I had a list. And my list was very, very, very specific. I want to where I wanted him to come from.
You know, there's no
Me,
problem. Just
my
as
own
Mariam
list,
said.
my own list. Because I had, especially as a young child, my face was quite angular. My list included that my husband's face should be over. To soften the edges
Yeah,
of
that's
my
what I
own
wanted
face.
to
I
say.
think that's how specific
So if
I
somebody
was.
had seen that list today,
Like, we
that
want
criticize
to-
me,
you don't
Your
have
list
any.
should not create unrealistic expectations of anybody. For instance, you
That's
cannot
my
tell me
list,
to
my
wear
private
heels
list.
inside no car. You know wear heel before. Now you know
You
say
know that there's
you know
some
they-
girls, Nima, that can wear heels for 1 kilometer.
Why can wear heels I can't
Yes,
wear?
she can.
She's over 20 years older than
Exactly.
me, and
I used to
can't-
walk, when I used to
Exactly.
go from my office in Sabo, I used to walk from my house in Falaguru to our office in Sabo.
In heels.
Exactly. One day I was walking down in Sabo, so I had these two guys. They didn't know I was listening to them. Say, Omofela lo lo yen, girl yen only anything that she can walk.
So you see,
so this kind of man, I would have been his
You see,
spec
so the girl-
in those days.
girl that can-
Whether he would have been my spec.
Yeah, that's
different
now.
matter. But definitely, so let us not judge his list. His list could be that there could be a girl that can walk those
You will judge this list. Because if I am not trekking in the hill, I'm not walking fine.
You are
like
not
biking.
trekking.
So wait. When me and my older sister went to, we were going out when we were quite young before I got married, and she wore heels. I wore flats because I knew we were going to trek. We were going to our auntie's house in Oregon there. From our house in Obadore, it was not possible. We would not trek some point. Then there was massive traffic on that Egbeda turning to Akonwojo Road. Always we will drop, we'll come down inside that and we'll trek. She was the first one to shout, when we come down, this traffic done too long. And I said, no problem. Because I wore flat slippers. And then she came down, she was not walking. At some point, you know the way heels will disgrace you.
Yeah.
She was bending over and she said I wasn't being supportive. I should have carried all the load. I said, sister, carry your portion of load. I carry my own portion of load. Because you know where we're going and you are the first one shouting, drop. Shaking, sorry, should I carry it on my head? And she got offended. Really, heels is not for the weaker-head.
Okay.
If you expect us to wear it, realistically, wait till you buy car.
No,
Okay,
he said there's
He's
some
putting this-
occasions. If I'm looking like, if he's a preacher, if he's going to church, that heels may also just connote be dress up. I hope you're someone that will dress up because we will have special occasions that I would like for you to dress up. So I've seen some people in some places and they wear slippers and I'm wondering, I think
So
this
this
is
guy
right for this
says-
occasion.
His list is reasonable once you get past screaming feminist in your head. But my only question is why wifey is doing all this, what are you going to do?